Psychmates, I have a question for you. But before we start, I'm warning you that this question might trigger one of you. But take note, we are just looking for an answer. Psychmates, for so many years, people have been debating about the origins of the world.
Now, here's my question to you. Did you know how our world started? You know, this question might be tricky. But does Earth really come from a meteor just like science said? Or we were created by God? At the end of this video, you might find an answer to that question. So watch this video until the end.
The Earth and other planets believed to have been born 4.5 billion years ago as the compacted cloud of dust and gases left over after the sun birth. Based on theories and evidence science has collected, based on their studies, Earth has been in such a state of continual change since it was formed about 4.5 billion years ago. Heat and gravity had been affected the evolution of planets since the beginning. The worldwide impacts of the light merge gradually joined these forces.
The only way we may possibly comprehend the beginning of existence and perhaps its future is through investigating this history. On the other hand, there are groups of people called the creationists whose beliefs differ from what science has taught. According to them, a divine being that is mentioned in the Bible created life on earth.
Creationism contends that all living things were created in their current forms and have not changed since their creation, rejecting the scientific theory of evolution in the process. These two claims have been controversial all over the world and continuously make an effect for the beliefs of every individual. In the interest of these conflicting beliefs, one of the famous creationists named Ken Ham, founder of Earth Creationist and Answers in Genesis, challenged Bill Nye, a famous educator best known as the science guy, to the debate regarding the origins of the world.
The debate took place for 2.5 hours with the topic of is creation a viable model of origins in today's modern scientific era? Ham began by saying, I believe science has been hijacked by secularists, and then named various experts, most notably Raymond Vahan Damadian, a pioneer in the field of magnetic resonance imaging who professed a belief in YEC.
Ham says the term science and observe. He is scrolling through slide after slide of scientists and atheists who are brilliant in their field and who think the earth is 6,000 years old. A further films recounts the tales of the MRI scanner man. Then another person claims that they are terrified of being persecuted if they speak out in favor of creationism along with other scientists.
These are the liberation warriors of Ham. Children should emulate those folks and consider them their heroes. Ham advises. Point 2. There is a distinction between drawing conclusions about historical science and what you see in science today.
There are numerous slides showing vaccines, smoke detector, significant technologies. Ham argues that while we can differ on Mars' historical origins, we can agree on the technology that allowed the rover to land there.
He says we only have the present. During Nairi battles, he begins, I learned something. Thank you. He fails to define something.
He holds up a chunk of dirt. Limestone actually. Kentucky limestone. We found it today and says it couldn't have existed if Mr. Ham's flood really happened only 400 years ago. He explained the kangaroo's Noah's Ark. Landed somewhere in the Middle East and kangaroos ended up in Australia. Why haven't we found kangaroo bones somewhere between Sinai and Australia? Somebody would have been hopping along there and died, and we find him. Something like that.
Nye also used the claims of having fossils, which is also according to research, that the specimens are usually considered to be fossils if they are over 10,000 years old. The oldest fossils are around 3.48 billion years old to 4.1 billion years old.
Towards the end of the debate, Ham admitted that nothing will change his mind concerning his view on creationism, whereas New acknowledged that If enough to convince evidence to presented to him, he will change his mind immediately.
This kind of debate basically shows the power of each evidence presented, the deliverance of their ideologies and arguments. However, it cannot alter all the reasoning and perspective of humanity. As a matter of fact, there is a chart from a Gallup poll showing that 46% of US citizens believe in creationism, while 50% of them support the theory of evolution. The difference is nothing huge to compare.
In the book entitled Evolution versus Creationism, an introduction by Scott in 2008, theory building is the goal of science. Theories explain natural phenomena and are logically constructed of facts, laws, and confirmed hypotheses. Knowledge in science, whether expressed in theories, laws, tested hypotheses, or facts, is provisional though reliable. Although any scientific explanation may be modified, there are core ideas of science that have been tested so many times that we are very confident about them and believe that there is an extremely low probability of their being discarded. The willingness of scientists to modify their explanation theories is one of the strengths of the method of science. And it is the major reason that knowledge of the natural world has increased exponentially over the past couple of hundred years. Evolution, like other sciences, requires that natural explanations be tested against the natural world. Indirect observation and experimentation involving if then structuring of questions and testing by consequence are the normal mode of testing in sciences such as particle physics and evolution. Where phenomena cannot be directly observed. The three elements of biological evolution, descent with modification, the pattern of evolution, and the process of mechanisms of evolution, can all be tested through the methods of science. The heart of creationism, that an omnipotent being created, is not testable by science, but facts claims about the natural world made by creationists can be.
Now, psychmates, after watching the video, we'd like to remind you that the purpose of this video is not to criticize anyone's belief, but to leave a message that we should be grateful for our life. I hope you learned something from this video, psychmates.